Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin has basically named Justin Fields the starter for Week 2 against the Denver Broncos. Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed 2 players to their 53-man roster, a physical specimen at safety and a new starter at punter. But first, before I get more into all 3 topics, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, to start off, obviously, the quarterback position is the main position and the question mark on this team. And many people are wondering, hey, if Justin Fields goes out and wins the game against Atlanta and he plays solid, would he be the starter in Week 2? Or would it be Russell Wilson? Well, Mike Tomlin in his Tuesday press conference sat there and said this. Let me read his quote to the media. But as I sit here today, we're preparing as if Justin Fields is gonna be our quarterback. I think that's an appropriate way to do it. Speculation is a waste of time. Russell's hurt. He is not available to us. And so, as you guys know, as a general practice, man, I focus my energy on those that are available and their readiness. Just saw Justin. He just finished a good workout here today and excited about maybe going through a complete week with him in terms of the preparation process. End quote. But that wasn't it. He also spoke on Russell Wilson because the media was asking him, hey, if Russell Wilson is healthy, will he end up being your QB1? And here's what Tomlin had to say about that. Here's the quote. Again, I'm not going to soothe you with hypothetical scenarios. It is my general practice to not. You guys that know me, know I do not. So why start today? Because it's a quarterback position or because it's a national story? I am unmoved by some of those narratives, to be quite honest with you. We've got an approach to business. I always stand in front of you guys when people are somewhat limited. I say we'll push through our work week. We'll let the participation be our guide in terms of whether we include them and then the quality of that participation. This scenario is no different for me. Respectfully, I understand that you have to ask that question, but it doesn't mean that we need to change our position or do things that are abnormal in the effort to answer it. We're just simply going to proceed with what we normally do. Our energies are and attention are on those that are available and are scheduled to play. They're deserving of that. When those that are not healthy will ponder it at that time. He also went on to say this about Russell Wilson as well. Here's one last quote on that topic. We'll take it day by day. Russ is not scheduled to work in totality tomorrow. To what degree, I do not know. And then we'll play it by ear from there, based on the results and the things that we see in terms of whether or not we consider him and to what degree we consider him for Sunday. End quotes. So, those are the 3 quotes that Mike Tomlin gave to the media about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And he didn't really overdo it. He basically said what was needed. Justin Fields is the starter this week, and I'm not going to say that Russell Wilson will for sure be the starter moving forward when he's healthy. We'll cross that road when we get there. So, obviously, leaves the door open for Justin Fields to continue playing past just this week. And now it looks like Russell Wilson, he will not get that revenge game against the Denver Broncos, in which it was the team that he came from last season and the team that did him dirty last year in Sean Payton being the head coach when they released him. So, and benched him late towards the end of the last season. So he will not get his revenge game. Justin Fields will be playing, and it makes sense. Justin Fields played a solid game, even though he wasn't flashy. His numbers weren't as good. He still played a solid game, I believe. I've really talked more about it in yesterday's video, but he made long drives, only went 3 and out one time, protected the ball, and set up the defense to have some resting time with those long drives. He won the possession game. Even though he did not get in the end zone, he still led the team. And he did a solid job. He will continue the starter, and I believe he should. So let's move over to the second topic and third topic of the video, the 2 signings. Well, you look at the 2 signings, who is the physical specimen? Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have claimed safety Terrell Edmunds off of the Jacksonville Jaguars practice squad, and they've also signed a new starting punter in Corliss Waitman. He was also a former Pittsburgh Steeler. So both guys are returning to the Steelers after formerly being on the team before. So let's talk about Terrell Edmunds first. He signs off of the Jaguars practice squad, and Cameron Johnston now goes on injured reserve list and is out for season. So looking at Edmunds, he was selected by the Steelers in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. He spent 5 seasons in the black and gold before signing with the Philadelphia Eagles as a free agent last season in 2023. He played in 7 games for the Eagles last year, starting 3 of them, and then he was traded to the Tennessee Titans midway through the season. With the Eagles, he had 26 tackles, 19 solo stops, 2 special teams tackles, and 1 fumble recovery. Edmunds played in 9 games for the Titans after being traded to them, starting only 1 of them, and he recorded 15 tackles, 12 of them solo stops, 2 pass defense, and 1 interception. Obviously, those numbers aren't too good, but looking at his final season in Pittsburgh in 2022, he had 70 tackles, 41 solo stops, 5 pass defense, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hurries in 15 games, all in which he started. So, obviously, that wasn't his best season as well. His best one, I believe, came on 2021, where he started all 17 games, finishing with 89 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 6 pass defense, a sack, quarterback hurry, and 2 interceptions. So he's used to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's what Mike Tomlin said. You can't get enough of those players. That's what he said about Edmunds. You can't get enough of those players who are used to your system and used to what you do, and you're used to them as well. Because in 5 seasons with the Steelers, Edmunds started 75 of 79 games, and he was healthy. He was healthy basically for every single game, except for 1 season, I believe, in which he got injured a little bit. But he had 405 tackles total in his career with the Steelers, 15 tackles for loss, 5 interceptions, and 5 sacks. And now he comes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's not going to be in a position to start. Those players that the Pittsburgh Steelers bring back is always not going to be a starting level player anymore in terms of they're going to be expected to start. Now Edmunds, when he was here, when he was drafted, his final season in 2022, even if he was not supposed to be the starter, he's still expecting to start. But now when you're brought back, especially off a practice squad, you're basically given an opportunity to redeem yourself in the NFL, just like Cameron Sutton. He was brought in, and it's not like the Pittsburgh Steelers and him, they're going to expect him to start. He might, but he's not expecting to. And same with Edmunds. He might be playing just special teams. Who knows? But having Edmunds, who is a depth piece, and someone is a veteran in this league, has so much reps, is only going to be a good thing. Now, let's move over to the starting punter the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed to replace Cameron Johnston. It is Corliss Waitman. So, Cameron Johnston, he suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 1 against Atlanta Falcons, and the Steelers, many people thought, hey, is Pressley Harvin III coming back? Is Corliss Waitman going to come back? Well, Corliss Waitman is the Pittsburgh Steelers' decision. He spent 2020 season on the Steelers practice squad after being signed as an undrafted free agent of South Alabama. He was waived at the end of training camp and landed on the practice squad and then signed a reserve such future contract in January of 2021. But the Steelers then cut him in May 2021, late in 21 season. The Steelers re-signed Waitman after punter Pressley Harvin went on kind of a leave for his family, allowing Waitman to punt in 2 games for the Steelers. In those 2 games, Waitman punted 7 times, averaging 52.1 yards. And then during the 2021 season, Waitman punted against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 16, and then he also punted in Week 17 for the Cleveland Browns as well. So Waitman punted 5 times for 244 yards, averaging 48.8 yards. And the big thing with him when he did punt for the Steelers, it was because Pressley Harvin III went on that leave where he missed some time because of a loss in his family. But he was the better punter between the two. And many people were saying, hey, should we just stick with Waitman? The Steelers obviously decided not to do that, went back to Pressley Harvin III, but then obviously Waitman was a better punter, just in general, looking at the two. So Waitman, he spent time with the Steelers. He also spent time with the Las Vegas Raiders, New England Patriots, Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, but he could just never stick. It seems as though he's always been that player who comes in when injuries happen, and then when the player comes back from the injury, he just gets waived from the team. So he hasn't been really given the true opportunity to actually settle down, be a starter for the team, and show what he's capable of doing. So he's punted for Denver in 2022, and he's also punted for the Bears this past preseason. So hopefully he continues off where he left off, and he continues where he was doing with the Steelers back, 2 years ago. So Mike Tomlin, he has stated that it was a serious injury for Cameron Johnston, and the Steelers filled that serious injury punter spot with a booming punter, booming ball kicker in Corliss Waitman. So those are the 3 topics of this video today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about these 3 topics, about Justin Fields being named the starter, what Mike Tomlin had to say about Russell Wilson, who do you believe should have been the starter between the two if both are fully healthy. Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers signing Terrell Edmunds at safety special teams, and also signing Corliss Waitman at punter to be the starter now with the injury of Cameron Johnston out for a season. Do you like those signings? Do you not? Let me know your thoughts. But make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, highlights, updates, analysis, reports, everything. I cover it all. I'll continue to cover all. And until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.